Don Dahler. He is a former GMA correspondent turned author, and his new book, it's great, Fearless. It came out earlier this month. The biography follows Harriet Quimby, the first American woman to receive her pilot's license. It's great to have you here. Don, I'm really excited. I did not know. I did not know.
Isn't it amazing? We should all know about this woman.
Yeah.
She should be as famous as Amelia Earhart.
Okay. Or you. Because you here back in the day on GMA, what's it like for you?
Well, I love what you've done with the place.
Thank you. A little bit different.
You and I were here during when we did the first broadcast from Times Square.
Right.
I mean,
Yeah,
that's how far back we go. It was a great time.
How about the scavenger hunt that we went on?
Oh, it was crazy times. Wasn't it wonderful, though? It was
Yeah.
so much fun traveling all over the U.S. with a team of just regular viewers and trying to solve puzzles.
But you also, the serious stories that you covered as well, 9/11 and that.
Yeah. Yeah, it was a variety of assignments, and that's why it was so fascinating to do it back then. I got to do a little bit of everything.
And she is fascinating. Why do we not know more about her?
A tragic twist of fate. The day that she did her greatest accomplishment, she flew solo across the English Channel. Doesn't sound like much, it's only 22 miles, but back then the aircraft had a wooden frame, canvas wings, and then they were sitting out in the open like we're sitting right here. And the English Channel was probably the most dangerous 22 miles on Earth. Men were dying all the time trying to fly across it. She flew across it, accomplished it, woke up the next morning opening the newspapers thinking that she was going to be in all the newspapers, and every newspaper was all about how the Titanic sank.
Oh, wow.
So everybody was paying attention to the Titanic. She came back to the U.S. There was no ticker tape parade in New York City. There was nothing like that. And she died 2 months later in a crash.
She died 2 months later after that.
Yeah.
And she was something else when you read about her because, okay, pilot, but before that, actress, reporter.
Yeah.
And she said all of this kind of, all these different roles intertwined and played. How about for you, Don? Because here you are, this is what, your fourth book?
Yeah.
And so how did your career as a journalist kind of intertwine with what you're doing now as an author?
I always love to write. I mean, a big part of our jobs is to write. I like not being limited by a minute and a half or 2 minutes, though. So I started writing novels, and those did pretty well. And then a little while ago, I was talking with my agent about what the next project was going to be. And for some reason, Harriet popped into my mind. I've known about her for probably 25 or 30 years. I wrote a screenplay about her that was optioned by Hollywood, but never was made into a movie. And I carried the box of research around with me all this time. So I threw out the story to my agent, and she said, oh my God, this is the time in the Me Too movement with having an inspiring woman who really shows people that you don't let society's constraints stop you from doing what you want to do. So that launched me into taking on the biography.
Is that part of it too? Because as a trailblazers, and we have a lot of trailblazers today, what can they learn from her story that will help them?
Well, the subtitle to the book is called A Life Without Limit, and I think that says everything there is to say about Harriet Quimby. She came from nothing, the poorest of the poor. She was born on a dirt farm in Michigan and found her voice as a journalist and a writer, but along the way, she kept doing things that society said you can't do. She was one of the first women to drive a car, to own a car. She was the first woman credited with writing a screenplay for the man who's basically the father of modern cinema, D.W. Griffith. She rode in a race car at 100 miles an hour when the speed limit back then was like 8 miles an hour. So she was truly fearless, but she also refused to let anything stop her from doing what she wanted to do. And I think that's a great lesson for all of us.
For all of us, it really is. Thank you. You know what? There's so many people that are going to be picking up this book. They're Googling her right now, and shame on us for not knowing more about her. And thank you for bringing her story.
It's an honor to be here. It's great to see you, my old friend. I loved it, and it's just a joy to be around this area. It feels like a homecoming to me.
It is a homecoming. You have a home here any and every time, Don Dahler. Oh, my goodness. Fearless is out everywhere.